guys, it's Nora, and today I'm back to give you guys an update on whatever happened to Sweden. Months ago this year, it was either like March or May, I want to say it was March, Jacob and I had that conversation and posted on YouTube that we both wanted to move to Sweden. And that's still something that we would love to do. But people knew that we were planning a trip to Sweden and thought that we were going to go on that trip. And then we kind of didn't talk about it, and then it never happened and we never went on the trip. So we wanted to tell you guys about what happened and how it's changed and when we are going to be going on that trip. When Jacob and I decided that we wanted to move to Sweden, we obviously wanted to do a trip to there before we just randomly decided that, oh hey, let's go to another country and live in it for a year or two and do a trial run. We had decided that we wanted to go the past summer. When we had decided, it was April, I think, April, May, we decided we want to go. And at that point, Sweden had opened travel. They had said, you know what, we're going to open for the summer. People can come. It's all good. And then the Delta variant hit. And that kind of derailed a few things. But it didn't derail a few things until, after the planning was, already in place, unfortunately. The third week of June, Jacob and I had booked, all of our flights. And then July 1st, Sweden said, you know what, actually, borders are closed. We're not letting anybody in. Now, there were a few exceptions. If you were from America and you were there to travel for business and you could prove that you were there to travel for business so that the economy wasn't going to, tumble and crumble. But the other option was that you could enter from a European country if you were vaxxed or had that PCR test that was negative within 72 hours, I want to say. But it wouldn't make any sense for us to fly to another country to then go into Sweden from another European country, which we have to do anyway, but it would have been obvious that we went to a country for a few hours and stayed in the airport. You couldn't just get away with going there for a vacation because they would have just known. So that left Jacob and I kind of in this lieu of do we go, do we postpone it? We had planned it for the last week of August. And so we kind of thought to ourselves, they closed everything July 1st. Maybe they will decide something different August 1st or put more restrictions so we could still go over there. And so we had continued planning. We knew what hotels we were going to stay in. We knew we were going to do the Citigo pass to go into all the attractions. And we had we had bought a few things. Pretty much we only had bought flights, but we had everything else planned out. But at that point, we kind of put everything on pause. And we even planned our full days out, what we were going to do each day. But we put that on pause and just said, you know what, let's wait until August 1st. August 1st came, and there was nothing. No talk, no decisions. Sweden just wanted to keep it how it was. And so that put Jacob and I in a weird position because we had booked these things and we didn't know when the country was going to reopen. So Jacob and I were you know what, we'll just wait till the end of August. Jacob and I had talked, and we kind of had decided that you can only rebook your flights so many times before you get charged or you can't get your money back. So we were going to rebook one flight, and we had talked about, do we try and maybe just hope for September and book things, and then hopefully we can go at the end of September or the first week of October, because past the first week of October, all of the attractions are closed, so it didn't really matter because we wanted to go and see the land and see how beautiful everything was. So none of that would have happened if we'd gone after the first week of October. That was when all the attractions were closing. We went back and forth the entire month of August as to what we were going to do and how it was looking, and we both decided I just started my job, so it wouldn't really make sense for us to go and leave for 10 plus days and me be in the middle of orientation as a nurse in the ED. Jacob was also looking for another job to start, so the thought of him possibly getting a job opportunity and not being there to start it in the moment if they needed him kind of wasn't a great thought process that we had, and that wasn't something that we wanted either of us to have to deal with. So we decided that we were going to postpone the trip. The problem is, next year, the first week of August, I want to say, Jacob and I are both going on an Alaskan cruise. We had already booked that prior to any of this. And we also then, September, in the middle of September, are getting married. Which didn't leave us a lot of time to then fit this other trip in. Although it gave us the opportunity to also save up longer for the trip. maybe go and spend a little more money on a few things, as well as extend our trip because I wanted to also go to Visby. I think I'm saying that right. Which is like a little island kind of south and to the east of Stockholm. And that wasn't like put into our original trip. So I was like, hey Jacob, if we're gonna reschedule it, why don't we also add like a few days on and see someplace else? We kind of decided maybe we wanted to go to Malmo at first, but then we were like, there's not much to see there, and that's not someplace that we really want to live. So that was kind of like thrown out of the options. We ended up choosing to do the like second or third week of June, because then I could work all of July and have that time to work before we went on our other trip, and then we'd have the end of the month to work, and then a week or two before our wedding. So June kind of looked the best to us. We picked the second or third week just because that's when all of the attractions are going to be open, and we want to give them a week or two to kind of get up and running before we go and experience them, and just have them a little more planned out and like routine-ish. So that's kind of like where we're at with that trip. We only rescheduled flights. There was one flight that we did just decide not to reschedule at the moment, which was our little layover from Gothenburg to Stockholm, because when I spoke to one of the travel agents, she was like, well, you can spend like the same amount of the ticket, which both tickets were only like $150. She was like, you can either spend half of that to rebook it, but we as a company only book flights every 3 months out. So there were no flights for me to book anyway in June to rebook it, and I would have had to like pay the fee every single time every 3 months to rebook that flight. So it just didn't make sense. So we just kind of ate the money on that. The person who I spoke to said it would just be more cost friendly for us to just wait until the schedules are up and know for a fact that we're going, because again, we've rebooked these things. However, with the way things are going right now, there could be a whole nother variant going on. So again, we don't know like for sure that we're even going to be able to go in June because of COVID, whereas when we're going to Alaska, it's in the States. So we're staying like, technically we cross over into Canada, but we're on a cruise ship, and if need be, we might just like not stop there if that was like really a concern. So less risk with that trip. Unfortunately, with Sweden, there's a lot more risk. The other part that I wanted to talk about was when Jacob and I said we wanted to originally move to Sweden. Jacob was still is unsure about whether he wants to go to school. That was kind of the original thought process, but he was like, maybe now I don't want to. Maybe I just like want to go straight into like my profession, my job that I already have a degree for. But we still want to have that like option available for him to go to school. And the college system, or university system is more what they call it, over in Sweden, the college that he would go to is like the same system in Gothenburg and Stockholm. So we reached out to both colleges. We asked if we could start at the beginning of the semester, but like mid-year. So we would start in the spring semester instead of the fall semester, and they said that was not an option. So we ended up kind of deciding, okay, we don't want to move in the beginning of 2023 in January. Also, if you don't know about Sweden, in the winter months, there's a lot less sunlight. And the sun like rises at like 9 and sets at 4. So it's a very like small window, and it only happens for a few months. However, it would be kind of hard to move to a new country and move into a new place and enjoy the first like few months of it if it was complete darkness and also super cold. So it kind of like ended up working out for the better. Jacob and I have decided that instead we want to move the summer of 2023. We originally said August, but maybe we want to move a little bit earlier, so we can get settled before he actually starts school. Of course, I'd start work like whenever I go over there, but that is kind of where we are at right now. So again, the plan to move is summer of 23, but in the meantime, we would like to visit once, maybe even more, prior to going there. We just need to see how COVID plays out, unfortunately. But that is pretty much it for now. I wanted to give you guys that update because I feel like I've been kind of AWOL on my channel, but it's just been kind of hard to film on my days off because I've been so busy and the seasons have kind of gotten away from us. But that is it pretty much for right now. I hope you guys enjoyed watching, and I'll see you guys next time.